Hi, my name is Scott Welch. I'm a film student at Staffordshire University, and today we're going to look at different types of qualities: rate, bit rate, quality, different types of settings you would have on YouTube, different types of Blu-ray to DVD. Look at different types of quality and how to compress the size down if you're doing films as well. And also talk a little bit about my short film, The Superhero, and show different qualities of them. Let's do this. Cool. Okay, well now we're going to talk about what is bitrate, and let's talk about it. So bitrate is the amount of data is per second in a video is when you're shooting something. Okay, so let's make a graph to show you the difference between what it means and how it works. Okay, let's have a look. So the higher the bit rate, the better quality that you'll have when you're doing your video. Bigger the quality, the more memory it is going to store when you're making your video. So the difference between bit rate and resolution are two separate things. The resolution is the size of the pixels on your video. By 1920 to 1080 on a HD video has different bit rates. To get a better sense and a bit more of an understanding, let's look at two examples of HD videos by 1920 to 1080p. Let's look between each two. On one side, it's on a low rate that compresses the size down and loses half of its quality, and you can see the difference. On the other side is a higher bit rate with more quality and more tones and more depth, but higher memory, so when you start working on it, it can take a lot more memory up when you start working on the clip in a high bit rate. But it gives you them amazing tones and textures that you can see. Not all HD videos will have this. It's difference between a Blackmagic camera, a GoPro or an iPhone. Each device has their own specific pixels and high resolution depending on what device you use. Let's look at the iPhone versus the DSLR. They both have 1920 to 1080, but they both shoot at different bit rates, meaning they're putting different data out per second. Depending on what camera you use, it might come out different or look different. It just depends on what you're using and how you use it. But the bit rate is a large factor into this. So let's use YouTube for an example. Normally when you watch YouTube, it normally goes at 8 bits per second. Depending on your internet connection or what speed you have got. Normally if you have a weak connection, it would go from 240. Now let's use some of the scenes that I've made, this little short superhero film. I have got 3 different examples of quality. You've got one scene in 240, what's a very low quality, what really hangs down on the different textures and tones. You can't hardly see the character in front. The fog has lost half of its details on it, and the flying swords, you don't know what they are, and it's lost half of its thing. Another one, for an example, the quality we can go to is 480. Now 480, again a little bit better. You start to see some of the colours back, but it's still very bland. You can't see the sun coming over the branches, the flames don't look as realistic as they normally are, you can't see the flames, the flakes showing as much. That's another one. Now we're going to go up to 1080. 1080 here is where I'm sitting on the chair, just absorbing the power, looking very sinister, and you can see a lot more tones, a lot more colours in the power. You can see the glow just around my face, you can see the reflection off the glasses, and you can see a lot more by the quality, depending on what quality you have. So let's compare this to a DVD as an example. Now normally when you're watching it on YouTube, it was 8 megabits. Now if you watch it from a DVD, and you put all the decoding and transferred all the data on, it's normally between 4 to 8 megabits per second. when it's transferred onto a CD. And if you look onto Blu-ray, the bitrate is between 24 to 40 megabits per second, different quality again. You can also find high bitrate files online like Netflix, Amazon Prime. Just look at how their quality is and how it's pushing the boundaries. And as the internet will go forward, the bigger the size file, the better the size bitrate. We can do a lot more quality in a fast and paced time. The last thing I'm going to talk about is when you decode a file, it's mostly important to learn these two simple things when you're decoding the file. Now there's two important ones: variable bitrate and constant bitrate. When you're exporting your film from Final Cut Pro or Premiere, depending on what you're using. Okay, let's say if we're going to use constant bitrate first. It's about 10 megabits per second, and when you go in, it just goes straight and an easy way through as it's compressing all the way through. Now you've got that nice steady timeless going along, let's go somewhere more efficient, a variable bitrate. So let's say if this was 10 megabits per second and the other one was 12 megabits and that was the limit, it's going to readjust as it's going along. So as your video is decoding and exporting, depending on the bitrate, it's going to adjust. If it sees a lot of black screens or not much motion, it's going to compress less data as it's going along with them frames, so it gives you more of efficient file size when you're doing your film. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation with the different qualities, the different comparisons of using cameras, phones, Blu-rays, DVDs, and talking about how you compress and make things easier when you're using it on editing softwares, and how to compress it in the right way, a different easy way or more efficient way, depending on what you prefer. So I hope you did enjoy this little presentation that I made. Thank you, and keep safe.